Hi all, welcome back to Disrupting Diabetes. For those that don't know me, my name is Luca. I'm 52 and in early January 2024 I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes with an AC1 of 11. I put together some videos which there is a link to at the top of this journey that I've undertaken, and the reason I've undertaken this is you'll see mainly in my first video how it all come about, but I was diagnosed mainly through optometrists who found that I had a diabetic retinopathy. From there, I went straight down the rabbit hole of researching this with diet and exercise, and then when I finally got the blood test, got to my doctor, I mentioned the diet path, and he basically said, no, this can't happen. This is only a managed disease through medication. So I decided that I wouldn't go down that track, and I decided to go through with my plan of diet and exercise. So I am not a doctor, and please, if you need any advice from your GP, please go and see before you even undertake any changes in medication or go down the diet path or whatever. But I mainly want to, I suppose, document my experience, because when I did go to the GP, it was such a devastating prognosis I had. Basically, it was the disease deteriorates, and it's just a matter of managing all these complications that you're going to run into with retinopathy, neuropathy, heart disease, kidney failures, limbs getting amputated, all that. So I'm now 5 weeks in, and today I want to give you an update of what I've noticed changing, what I've been doing in my diet, my weight, and just my general progress. So please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and let's keep getting it out there, and hopefully this can help someone out there. So my weight. So as I said earlier, previously to being diagnosed, I actually thought, you have to start losing some weight. And I started to take some photos. So this was probably 2 or 3 weeks before I was diagnosed, and at the time I was 79 kilos. So through my diet, I'm now week 5, and you'll see I'm down to 73 kilos. Also, at the time, I took a body scan, which is done through an app I've got. It was called Me360, just on my iPhone. And you can see I went up at, that was the 5th of December, it was 22.6%, and 7th of February, I was down to 17.7% body fat. So obviously losing weight, and more importantly, body fat, and hopefully visceral fat to go with that. Also, prior to being diagnosed, once I'd got 3 or 4 weeks into it, I issued a challenge to all of my family, which they all accepted, and I put up some money to see who could lose the most body fat in the 3 months, 6 months, and over a year. So we all went and done a DEXA scan, and mine actually come in at 28%. So there's a big difference with these scans, but they'll still all obviously still tell you that you're losing body fat. So one was saying 22.6 and one saying 28. So that DEXA scan, I'm due at another 3 months. So it'll be interesting to see what that comes in at, which I'll obviously give you the results of. So sleep. So this is the biggest change or improvement I've noticed so far since my diagnosis, and I underestimated how important sleep is. And this is not only for type 2 diabetics, but also anyone trying to reduce their weight, just general health improvements. Sleep is so important. So the problems I had and the things that have really improved were, first of all, frequent urinating. I was up 4 or 5 times a night, and every time I got up, I was going to the bathroom. That stopped basically. Also, I was very thirsty through the night, so I always went to bed and took some water with me, and every time I woke, I was drinking, and that was to do with I was very dry in the mouth, and some mornings, like, you'd wake up and your mouth was so dry you couldn't even hardly talk. So I always had the bottle of water next to me. That's all gone. Sweating, I was sweating a hell of a lot, to the point where Rel was getting very uncomfortable with me actually being next to her, and I always slept above the blankets because of how much I sweated. That's gone. And a couple of things I did notice too, when a couple of times I did have an off night through whatever that was, a little bit of stress or whatever, and I did notice also that my blood sugars the next day were up probably at least 1 to nearly 2 points throughout the day. So without a good night's sleep, definitely affected the blood sugar. The other thing I wanted to mention, I've now got into a really good routine. So I try to get to bed between 10 and 10:30. And prior to that, probably an hour before it, I purchased a sauna, an infrared sauna. It was before I was diagnosed, actually, when I did the big health kick. And I was sauning earlier in the day, but what I found, if I saunaed, and actually when I was getting in there and I got out and I sort of used to feel a bit tired, so I thought I'd start the sauna a bit later in at night. So if it was an hour before I go to bed, I'll jump in the sauna and I get in there, and within 5 to 10 minutes, I run about between 60 and 65 degrees, I start yawning. So I did a bit of research, and they were saying that the saunas actually do trigger melatonin in you, which is obviously the hormone that helps you sleep. So I'm finding that's a big help. And so yeah, really good signs with sleep, and once again, sleep's very important. And I'm getting, if I go to bed around the 10:30 mark, I'm probably awake at 6, but getting up and feeling great. And this is where I've really noticed the biggest improvement so far. So on the diet, sticking to my 800 calories, and those 800 calories usually consist of some form of protein, usually beef, but also adding pork, fish, any sort of seafood, chicken, lamb. I'm usually doing that either on the barbecue, on a grill, or cooking in a pan with lots of butter. And I'm not afraid to eat any of the fats, and also probably adding fat to that with olive oil or avocado. And I'm having usually just a garden salad or some steamed veggies. I like steamed broccoli, any sort of leafy greens, I'm eating that. Also, most meals, when I do add the carbohydrate, which is usually my lunch meal, I'm adding some fermented vegetables. So I'll have a little bit of mainly sauerkraut or a bit of olives or some pickled onions. That's mainly just for the bacteria in my stomach. I just think it's very beneficial for that. Intermittent fasting, still doing that. So I'm eating in the 6-hour window, usually between 12 and 6. And if I'm having a lunch, I'll eat that 12 o'clock, and then obviously before 6. And then 2 days a week, as I explained, I'm still doing that one meal a day. Fasting's just allows you to take so much more control of your blood sugar. It allows your sugar to come down, and that's what it's all about. Being diabetic is just your blood sugars need to be as low as you possibly can get them, and this helps it bring it down and put me to where I need to be. Another thing I didn't say, I'm not having any fruit, and I've cut out all fruit. I've never had fruit since I've been diagnosed. And I don't seem to be missing it, but I did love fruit. I used to be mad on peaches, nectarines, especially at the time of diagnosis. They were right in season. And definitely no fruit juices. Like, the amount of sugar in that will just really spike your blood sugar. So what I'm doing is mainly water. And I love sparkling mineral water. I drink that more than anything. And I'm having a bit of tea. And I'll have a coffee in the morning and try and limit myself to a coffee no later than maybe 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And what I'm finding, if I do have a coffee and I don't usually want milk in it, but I don't. What I'm doing now is I put a little bit of cream in it. If not, I'll have a double shot espresso or something like that, but obviously no sugar. And what you'll find, people say, oh, how can you do it without sugar? But the less you don't have sugar, and I've found that your taste buds actually regenerate themselves on the tongue every 10 days, I've been told. So your body adjusts to it, and as soon as you do taste something sugary, it just sticks straight out to you. So I don't miss sugar at all. Another thing is I'm not snacking. And looking back, a lot of things I was doing wrong, but one of them was snacking. And I was snacking on salt and vinegar chips, chocolate later in the night, maybe a muffin, dips with Cruskets, all that sort of stuff. Just obviously was doing me terrible harm. But what I found, like, my go-to food is eggs, and I cannot get enough of them. And to me, they're just a superfood. So if I just what I'll do is boil 4 or 5 eggs at a time and just keep them in the fridge. And if I get a little bit of hungry, grab an egg, and you'll find that the protein really keeps you satiated. Like, you don't get as hungry on protein. It's something I've never noticed, but I've had a couple of just carnivore meals, I suppose you could say, and it sits so well in your stomach, and once again keeps your blood sugars down. So diet's going well, and I'm getting the results. So my symptoms, went back to the optometrist 2 days ago. So he wanted to see me a month after the diagnosis. So it's been a month. Went in there, had my usual eye test. He looked at the scans and said the retinopathy is still there. It hasn't deteriorated, which is good. But basically it's probably still the same. So positive out of that is no deterioration. So he set me up to go and see him again in another month, and hopefully from there we'll get some better news. The neuropathy, which is tingling in my toes. So I've got the tingling in my toes, which is basically on both my feet, and it's a constant, I suppose I describe it as like pins and needles, and sometimes it's constantly there, but sometimes you forget about it as you say you're walking or whatever, but sometimes at night you do really notice it. It's basically in my I suppose the middle 3 toes on each feet. That's still there. Hasn't gotten any worse, which once again I'm taking the positive out of. And also because it's nerve damage, apparently from what I've read up, nerve damage can take a considerable amount of time to regenerate nerves, like they're talking maybe 6 months. So good thing there is, once again, that hasn't deteriorated either. So my blood sugar, when I was diagnosed basically from the optometrist, I had probably nearly close to a week before I saw a doctor. So with the research I did, I jumped straight onto this diet basically. So I'd never had a glucose monitor probably for the first 8 days, and when I did purchase one and started to look at my bloods, you have to remember I was diagnosed with an A1C of around 11. As soon as I got this glucose monitor on, the first day actually I was getting numbers like down in the high 5s, so which was great. Since I've had the glucose monitor, the highest I've seen was, I did talk about it in the video where we went to Mount Kosciuszko. The highest reading I saw was a 9.4, and that was what I ate a seafood, well, not a seafood, a seaweed salad, which had plenty of sugar. So that was the highest I've ever seen. It was 9.4, which is obviously under 11. And the lowest reading I've had, and that was, I did a 3-day fast, which is probably another video I'll do. It was down to 4.2 I got down to that day. So all in all, everything seems to be tracking right there. I mean, we won't know until after the 3-month blood test how my actual A1C is going, but pretty confident. Well, obviously it's come down a lot, and we'll just have to wait and see for that 3-month period when I get this another A1C test done, and that'll obviously confirm how well I'm going. So exercise, I'm doing my 10,000 steps a day, and also my push-pull leg program, which is alternate days. And what I'm sometimes doing now is I'm actually walking to the gym or from the gym, which is roughly 5 Ks. So that's also a good workout, and I get both things done basically within the 2 hours. I've also added a cardio session. So my son was going out and doing a cardio session with his friend's father who runs it, and he asked me to come along, so I thought, yeah, I'd go and have a look. And it's a pretty good workout. It's probably an hour and a half, and really gets the sweat up. We do a lot of body weight exercises. It's just like a circuit, and we'll also use dumbbells, kettlebells, series of short runs. But yeah, really gets the sweat up. It's the only cardio session or cardio I really want to do at the moment, for a couple of reasons. One is I don't want to go too hard and injure myself, and also I want to be mindful of keeping muscle on, so that's why I'm focusing more on the weight training. So in summary, 5 weeks in, and everything seems to be on track. Blood sugar's tracking where we want. Sleep's huge improvements in sleep, and that's where I've noticed the most improvement, obviously. My weight, it's coming down, getting down to probably where I need it to be, and any sort of weight loss for anyone is always going to be beneficial. So the reason I'm losing weight as quickly as I am, which is not the path that everyone has to take, and you don't have to. This could take 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, who knows, but I want to get this back down as quickly as possible. So I'm basically dedicating, well, whatever it takes. It might take 4 months to 6 months, who knows, but I've really put a lot into this. This is basically consuming me, and I really want to get on with life as quickly as possible. I get this back to where it needs to be, in remission, and then move on and just maintain it. So hence the reason I'm documenting this through video. I don't know at what stage I'll put this into remission, or if I will. I hope I can, but I looked at it as an opportunity that, after seeing what I was told through the doctor, and also seeing what I'm seeing on social media with, there's a lot of people out there like me. I was sort of lucky that I didn't want to go down the medication path, and did a lot of research, but there's so many people out there that been on insulin for years and just looking for answers. And I'm hoping that I can give them some answers. So I'll review this another 4 weeks, and in the meantime, we'll keep putting up some more videos. And if you want to get in contact with me, please do leave a comment below, or leave your email, or we have an Instagram, Disrupting Diabetes. Please reach out to me. I really am always wanting to hear from people and always trying to learn. And like I said, let's just keep disrupting this diabetes.